So, who wants to go get our gross on?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Colgrim. Not as long as I'd like, but that's what I get.
How did a child survive that? The crater is still smoking. It's a boy. 5 fingers, 5 toes. That's all that matters to me. The Maker has answered our prayers. Let's go home, Marta, and raise the Tyke as our own.
Well, I'm sure this setting will be just fine now that Superman's here. Why did you say that name, Colgrim?
Let's get started.
I take it we are here to see the mages? Lovely.
Hello, Evo. It was an acceptable lunch. Hello, Melissa GM.
Right.
Hello, O40.
This should be easy enough.
I did eat, yes. Perhaps too much. Too deeply and too greedily.
You're the Grey Warden, aren't you? Exactly who I was hoping to meet. I represent a collective of mages interested in going about their lives without the constant scrutiny of the Chantry.
Nice hat.
Next to me, and in every major settlement, you will find an inconspicuous sack containing requests from mages all over the land who need the assistance of someone skillful and discreet.
Okay.
Thank you, my friend. We have agents in every major settlement to reward you for work done on behalf of the collective. Makers smile upon you.
Doubt it.
Well, look at this. I remember taking you across when you left with that fella Duncan. And now you're a Grey Warden. My pap used to tell me stories about them.
Hello, Kester. Why aren't you manning the boat?
Templars took the boat.
Why?
I don't got a clue. They wouldn't tell me. Gregor just came down and said, "Don't you worry, Kester, we got it all under control, we do." Didn't say nothing else. And then he puts Carol in charge of my boat. Lissy, named for my grandmum she was.
There's something wrong in the tower?
I told you, they didn't tell me nothing. And if I know they're mages, I'm better off keeping out of their business. If I had to guess, I'd guess it had to do with magic, but the tower's always got something to do with magic.
Yeah, that's fair. You live, like, right here. How do you not know what's going on?
Do I look like a Templar? A mage? Why would they tell me anything?
Alright. Thanks.
You're too kind. Your type don't usually give my type the time of day.
Yeah, that's because they're dumb.
What are you looking at?
Good day.
Good day, and welcome to the Spoiled Princess. Is there something I can get for you?
Why is it called the Spoiled Princess?
It was my father's idea. He ran the inn before me, and he named it for my sister. She was his little princess. Princess decided the country was too dull for her and moved to Denerim. More glamorous, she said. Well, she was found murdered, robbed of all the trinkets my father bought her with his hard-earned money. My father died of shock and heartbreak. Mother stopped eating, and I got the struggling inn. The name stuck. That's the story.
I'll take a drink.
Of course. What would you like?
Apparently, health poultices. Although injury kits is what I really want. I mean, we actually did, Gray, if we're being honest.
Right.
Game. Alright, let's see if we can cross this stupid place.
You're not looking to get across to the tower, are you? Because I have strict orders not to let anyone pass.
And no, I haven't, Spartan. I'm a Grey Warden. I need the assistance of the mages.
Oh, you're a Grey Warden, are you? Prove it.
I have documents?
Yes. Oh, a Grey Warden seal. Aha! So you're claiming to be one of those. You know, I have some documents, too. They say I'm the Queen of Antiva. What do you think of that?
Aren't queens female?
Don't question royalty.
All right, that's enough. Let me crush a few body parts it can't possibly miss.
I'll take you right now, just like you wanted.
Aw, I was hoping for the Sten interaction. The Sten interaction is he's like, ugh, fine, here, have some cookies. And we're like, where did you get those cookies from? And he's just like, ah. Sten has a bit of a sweet tooth. If Morrigan's here, she's amusing. She's like, oh, yes, please let him spend some time with me. And freaks him out.
Come along, I suppose.
And I want 2 men stationed within sight of the doors at all times. Do not open the doors without my express consent. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now we wait and pray.
Gregor, good to see you again.
Well, look who's back. A proper Grey Warden now, are we? Glad you're not dead.
So, what's going on? Why are the doors barred?
I shall speak plainly. The tower is no longer under our control. Abominations and demons stalk the tower's halls. We were too complacent. First Jowan, now this. Don't think I've forgotten your role in Jowan's escape.
I honestly thought you would have caught him by now.
How exactly? He is one man in all the world, and we have no way to locate him. It set a dangerous precedent. I should have been more vigilant and urged Irving to be more wary. I can only hope that someday Jowan gets what he deserves. But right now I have other pressing concerns.
What happened to the first enchanter?
We don't know. We saw only demons, hunting Templars and mages alike. I realized we could not defeat them and told my men to flee.
What can I do to help?
I have sent word to Denerim, calling for reinforcements and the right of annulment.
For what? How can you think of doing that?
You assume that there will be any mages left to kill. This situation is dire. There is no alternative. Everything in the tower must be destroyed so it can be made safe again.
There has to be another way.
If there was, do you not think I would have chosen it? There are only abominations left in this tower. No one could have survived those monstrous creatures. It is too painful to hope for survivors and find nothing.
I'll look for survivors.
I assure you, an abomination is a force to be reckoned with, and you will face more than one.
I have to try.
A word of caution. Once you cross that threshold, there is no turning back. The great doors must remain barred. I will open them for no one until I have proof that it is safe. I will only believe it is over if the first enchanter stands before me and tells me it is so. If Irving has fallen, then the circle is lost and must be destroyed. May Andraste lend you her courage, whatever you decide.
Okay, well, that's fun. Wow, that was a while ago. Oh well. Hmm. Listen, Evo, it's just there's so many mages left. It's fine, Lothario. It's fine, fine. Templars are the good guys. Mages are the bad guys here. Hmm. Yeah, Templar slips me $10. There we go. Just kind of pocket that there. Cool. Okay. Sorry. Look at my newts. Don't mind me.
I wish this were over. We're running low on supplies, and I don't know how much longer we'll last.
Do you need help?
We need the abominations and demons out of this place, if that's what you mean. If you have anything to trade, that would be helpful too.
What do you got? God. Here's my favorite characters on win condition. Another bag. It's only 106 gold for that. +2 to everything. +1 mana to regen, +1 stamina regen. Not exactly shabby, but it's 102 gold. This thing is 128 gold. I don't have that kind of money. It's just, I don't have in the same zip code as that kind of money. Yeah, anyways.
Let's get started.
This is the 6th VOD, Gray.
I do not
shift,
understand
if you
what
prefer.
a golem is. Why would anyone create such a being?
Why would one create a sword? Just strike at its enemies.
But you are no sword golem. You speak like a living creature, but act like a possession. I do not know what to make of you.
I am no possession. Not now that the control rod is broken.
No, it is still in your heart. Do you even realize this? Age by age have men stood up and said to the world, "From what has come before me I was forged, but I am new and greater than my forebears." And so each man walks the world in ruin, abandoned and untried, less than the whole of his being.
It is a riddle.
It seems so.
A lot of dead mages here. But, you know. Oh yeah, speaking of which, I do need to write that down as well. Itemization. Oh yeah, and also... I don't know what you're talking about, Lord Aramont. seeing things. Wait, Sten, is this true? Can you level? Let's see here. It'll be really obvious why I brought 2 companions and not 3 in about a minute. If it isn't already.
You've returned to the tower? Why did the Templars let you through? Are you here to warn us?
I told Gregor I would investigate.
The Templars have barred the doors. They will only open them if they intend to attack us. Is that what is happening?
No, the Rite of Annulment isn't here yet.
They sent for it then. I feared they might have. What else could they do? So Gregor thinks the Circle is beyond hope. He probably assumes we are all dead. They abandoned us to our fate. But even trapped as we are, we have survived. If they invoke the Rite, however, we will not be able to stand against them.
Did Irving survive?
If anyone could survive this, it would be the first enchanter Irving. It was he who told me to look after the children. It's a long story. I erected a barrier over the door leading to the rest of the tower, so nothing from inside could attack the children. You will not be able to enter the tower as long as the barrier holds, but I will dispel it if you join with me to save this circle.
I disagree. Annulment is the only option.
Once Gregor sees that we have made the tower safe, I trust he will tell his men to back down. He is not unreasonable.
Sadly true. However, Gregor will only accept it if the first enchanter specifically says so.
Then our path is laid out before us. We must save Irving.
What about the children?
Petra and Kenan will watch them. If we slay all the fiends we encounter on our way, none will get by to threaten the children.
Okay. Well, I'll be back in a minute.
Petra, Kenan, look after the others. I will be back soon.
Wyn, are you sure you're all right? You were so badly hurt earlier. Maybe I should come along.
The others need your protection more. I will be all right. Stay here with them. Keep them safe and calm.
So, we got this.
Your confidence is refreshing, though you should make sure it does not blind you to your weaknesses. If you are ready, let us go end this.
But...
Yes. Yes.
Here we are. I'm somewhat amazed at myself for having kept it in place this long.
Did it tire you out?
It made me very weary at times, but I had to stay strong to keep us safe. Be prepared for anything. I do not know what manner of beasts lurk beyond this barrier. Are you ready?
It's okay, Colgrim. I'm sure there will be no consequences for this action.
All right. Be on your guard.
Now, what I want to know is how long will it be until we encounter our first locked something?
It's nothing but excitement.
I know, right, Colgrim? Wouldn't that be neat? Or if we could just bash them like you could back in Neverwinter Nights 1, a game that predates this game by several years. By the same developers. Point it out. Thank you, Robostall. A friend of mine always played a rogue in this game, just so he didn't have to do the thing of boop, unlock, boop, boop, unlock, boop, constantly. Like, it was worth it to him to play a rogue, just to avoid that hassle. I'm not blaming him. It's just it's a comment. Yeah, very seconds into minutes, and it is getting a negative for that. Thank you, Robostall, very much. As always, and as ever. Hopefully you'll enjoy this particular playthrough. You didn't put that towards anything, Toast. So if you want to put that towards funding something, please let me know. Yeah, like I said, Jesse Ward, I'm sure at least some of you in chat have had the same thought, whether you did it or not, of, I should just play a rogue and bypass that little irritant. Because it's a little irritant. Just a little one, though. What game wouldn't have that negative? Neverwinter Nights 1, Logue. Also, most BRPGs bypass that one. Because they have, or no, not BRPG, excuse me, wrong thing. What was that? Oh god, that was Neverwinter Nights 1, wasn't it? Am I still thinking of the same game? I'm tired, I apologize. Oh, I did way over 80% Lothario. I would say I probably did 95% of Baldur's Gate 3. I absolutely missed some stuff, but everything I missed was either on accident or mutually exclusive. Or a bug. We ran into some bugs. See, the thing is, and I hate to reference Neverwinter Nights 1 yet again, but it does two things right. First of all, it lets you bash something in order to loot it instead, you know, just like Baldur's Gate 3. But second, and arguably more importantly, if you have a rogue in your party and you click something, they'll be like, oh yeah, there's an option, excuse me, for them to be like, no, I got that. And they just go and unlock it for you without you having to switch, unlock, and then switch. Now, whether that's good or not, that's kind of up to you, but it's still true. I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure in KOTOR you could bash things as well. So thank you for reminding me of that. Oh, whoops. Let's do the first. Nope, okay. I don't remember Loner. I know KOTOR 2 did. Which is funny, because Neverwinter Nights 1 also had that exact same problem. Well, problem's the wrong word. Consequence? We'll go with consequence. That's a good word for it.
Right.
Hey, it's a pile of rage. I didn't know Twitter was in this game. What's your reasoning, Colgan? Oh, that's true. Although I'm not sure that's directly related to that. That might just be the party size limit again.
A little frantic. I can see why. Here we go.
Yeah, as a lol, first of all, Gray and 7. But second of all, as a fairly deliberate bit of internal spite, I've decided to never call it X. 10 years from now, I'll be calling that Twitter. No one cares. But, you know, it's the little things. What is X? I don't know. Might be referring to the Xbox, Colgan.
We're here. I hope he's all right.
If we don't have our pettiness, what do we
Please
have?
refrain from going into the stockroom. It is a mess, and I've not been able to get it into a state fit to be seen.
Owain? You're not even a person!
Yes, it is I, Owain. You remember. I was trying to tidy up, but there was little I could do.
Aren't you afraid of the abominations?
Of course. I am defenseless, and if I ran into one, I would surely perish. I tried to leave when things got quiet. That was when I encountered the barrier. Finding no other way out, I returned to work.
And people say that golems aren't very lively.
Owain, you should have said something. I would have opened the door for you.
The stockroom is familiar. I prefer to be here.
Yep, you can go back to your factory. Have fun with that.
I would prefer not to die. I would prefer it if the tower returned to the way it was. Perhaps Niall will succeed and save us all.
Succeed at what?
I do not know. But he came here with several others and took the litany of Adralla.
But that protects from mind domination. Is blood magic at work here?
I do not know.
Niall was in the meeting. He would know. Blood magic. I was afraid of this.
We'll be able to handle it.
We should find Niall. The litany will give us a fighting chance against any blood mages we encounter.
I wish you luck. Perhaps this will be over soon and things will return to the way they were. Goodbye.
Hey, Dr. Winter.
Let's get started.
Did I already... Hang on, I might have already skipped something. I need to double check to make sure I don't. No, I'm pretty sure the guy hiding is further up. I just want to make sure I get Morrigan's book.
As you wish.
Okay. I couldn't remember where it was. You'd think one of these days I'll know where everything is by memory, but my memory just doesn't work that way. As I've talked about before, I usually remember things wrong because of how that works. Yep. We're about to hit the fade.
You're going to pay for that!
Oh my god, they're trying to kill me. So to explain that briefly, I am not the only person this affects, but the idea is simple.
Please, please don't kill me.
Hold up. So the idea is simple. You play a game, and you do the wrong thing. But then you finally find the answer. Cool. But what you remember is doing the wrong thing. So then you replay the game, and you're going by memory, so you do the wrong thing. Ah, right. Then you remember it's the wrong thing, and you progress forward. But then you replay the game a third time, or a second time, more accurately. You play the game a third time, and you do the wrong thing, because that's what you remember. And the thing is, it tends to groove deeper each time. The people you killed probably didn't want to die either.
I know I have no right to ask for mercy, but I didn't mean for this death and destruction. We were just trying to free ourselves. Aldred told us that the Circle would support Loghain, and Loghain would help us be free of the Chantry. Don't you remember what it was like living here? The Templars watching. Always watching.
So, couple of things. First of all, Loghain doesn't have the right or authority to do that. I'm not saying that these people are wrong for believing he does, but he totally doesn't. So this was never going to work out long-term on any level. Second of all, how long ago do you think Aldred died, to put it as absolutely succinctly as possible? You know, I never turned to forbidden magic.
The magic was a means to an end. It gave me the power to fight for what I believed.
Fighting for what you believe is commendable, but the ends do not always justify the means.
You don't really believe that, do you, Wynne? Change rarely comes peacefully. Andraste waged war on the Imperium. She didn't write them a strongly worded letter. She reshaped civilization, freed the slaves, and gave us the Chantry. But people died for it. We thought someone always has to take the first step. Force a change, no matter the cost.
Nothing is worth what you've done to this place.
And now Aldred's gone mad, and we are scattered, doomed to die at the hands of those who seek to right our wrongs.
Right. It's okay, there will never be a war between mages and Templars, and if it is, it'll only be the first act of a lackluster game. So, time to kill you.
No, please.
Sorry. There we go. There we go. There we go. It is amusing to think Aldrin's been dead for a while, but I agree. Demons, by their very nature, and I mean that quite literally, just don't have the ability to maintain that kind of a long-term deception. They don't think that way. Hey, look, there's our first locked chest. Took 2 floors to get to our first locked chest. Just remembering where some abilities are. Give me a sec. I'll go with those.
As you wish.
Yeah, Jowan is unfortunately a bit of... Well, I don't want to call him underthought because he's not. It's more accurate to say that Jowan is a bit of cut content.
It should be easy enough.
Now, we know that with definitive second lock chest. With total certainty at this point because we know there was cut content and Jowan was originally supposed to be a party member. What we do not know is more specifics than that.
Death
Having said that, I would not be surprised at all if Jowen had unique dialogue for this section of the game. I mean, other than the obvious. I don't remember Jesse Ward.
You or me? This is going to be me.
It would make sense for Uldred to try and oust Jowen, specifically to throw things off his trail. And Jowen was just a moron who was believing, you know, a higher-ranking mage in his own order. So he just kind of went along with it. Hello?
Hello?
Well, that's a good question, Mike Romano. Let's go pull up YouTube. And let's look at part 4, which is right here. It's got 29 views already. So, who are you?
I'm nobody. I'm harmless. Please, leave me alone.
You don't really have to be afraid of me.
But the demons...
Yeah, they're dealt with. They're gone.
If you're sure it's safe, I could take a peek outside. Oh. Ah, yeah. Yes.
Are you hurt?
I have a crick in my back and my bum's gone numb. Oh, holy maker, look at this. Those demons didn't know what hit them, did they? Godwyn, Mage of the Circle of Ferelden, at your service.
Did I meet you in like an underwater base in a previous life?
There were demons everywhere, blocking my exit. I decided that the best thing to do in that situation was to hide and be very, very quiet. I just really want to be somewhere safe. I think I might stay here for now. Maybe go back into my closet for a little while.
Colgrim, nah, Star Wars was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And regardless, KOTOR's even before that, if you think about it, by a couple millennia. So, plenty of time for society to devolve into this. You could probably escape if you wanted to.
And go where? The Templars have locked the door. I'm just going to stay here and see what happens.
Okay.
Thank you again for saving me. May we meet again in happier, less life-threatening times.
Sure. Look, all I'm saying, Loke. Okay, Loke's dead. Whew, okay. No one will ever question me again, for I am the lore runner, and as a typical streamer, I will brook absolutely no disagreement. None whatsoever. From anyone, on anything, especially when I'm actually wrong. I'm sorry, it's a minor incident, but a friend of mine saw that happen recently. Lord knows I don't like being wrong. I don't think anybody likes being wrong, but like, this dude was just a dick about it. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Oh yeah, then you gotta do an apology video. I'm sorry. I, may have said things that were interpreted in a light I did not intend.
Look at this mess!
Hey, I got a little ukulele I'm playing the whole time. And I'm sorry that you feel the way you feel about my comments, which I was very valid in making, obviously. Yeah, English isn't my first language. I'm still having trouble with the nuances of it. You know how it is.
As you wish.
Hey, I gotta say, sorry I'll let your feelings get hurt. Hey, there's a vial. Oh, God! This is a very surprising development I definitely wasn't prepped for. Oh, God, I'm getting in Shale's way. Hang on, let me get out of the way. Get out of the way. There we go. You know what, hang on, really quick. You are set up to, okay, and you're set up to... Oh, my God. Heal! Perfect. Probably Lord Aramon. Next thing I'll do is to get into reaction videos. Oh, Jesus. Heal, Sten. Heal!
Now you die!
I've decided to eat 15 pounds of burgers in one sitting. Yeah, Revenants are mean. In a good way, though. I like Revenant fights.
Desperation is an ugly perfume. Drop it.
One down. Oh, good God. Please don't make me watch my old garbage and crap. You realize that I'm the person who has been arguing for years that you should let me delete my old videos because they're terrible.
This is Irving's office. I half expected to find him here, but I suppose that's too much to hope for.
Ugh, thank God. There's the Black Grimoire. Yay. The Old and the Terrible. So here's one of my worst earlier videos. And here's all the rest. They all suck. All of them suck.
Right.
Game. I followed another apprentice today through the supposed secret maneuvers and exposed her tendency towards blood magic. The environment of the tower is such that certain modes of thoughts are encouraged, both for good and ill. The students think we toy with them. The truth is more intricate and directed. Deviant traits must be exposed early or the whole circle suffers. Uldred has been very helpful in identifying the markers to look for. His skills at misdirection are admirable. I dare say the apprentices will be shocked at his ability to manipulate them. I must organize a retreat such that other enchanters can benefit from his skills. The name of this log entry is Irving's Mistake. Oh, Christ, Wandering Doll. The ignorant mulings of a child. Hemiomancy? I could see that. I wonder how Cullen's doing. He's probably not here anymore. He probably moved on.
Lifeless bastards.
Yeah, Cullen's just chilling with Halsin right now. What's really funny, Junk Garage, is I didn't think that. But, well, as you say, I wasn't thinking about it. I legitimately forgot my own opinion because of how bad the ending was. Not that that excuses it, it's just, it's the truth. Good afternoon, Bensony. But it is amusing to me in hindsight, because, you know, I fell back into the same problem everybody else did, just for a slightly different reason. Because I've told you guys my opinions of ME3 when I first played it. It was mixed. There was some good stuff, there was some bad stuff, and there was some in between.
This should be easy enough.
The ending to Baldur's Gate 3, the most ending ever to ending.
And as he writes,
Nah, Mass Effect 3. I mean, I stand by the review we did last year of Mass Effect 3. I'm quite satisfied with that. We were thorough. Another locked chest, but I think we're up to 5 so far, something like that.
This should be easy enough. On it.
I mean, that's not... Yes, that's what we were just talking about and making fun of, Sonoshu. Don't make me delete the video. I will do it without hesitation.
As you wish.
Although, you want to hear the old video I'm most tempted to delete. It's actually the Skyrim one. The original Skyrim one. That's one of the very, very, very few videos I have ever actually lied in outright.
As you wish.
Feel good.
How about you?
See, I can't agree with that personally, Latario, because
As you wish.
if I only had vague memories to go off of, then sure, yeah, maybe it's not as bad or even as good as I think something is, right?
Let's get started.
But if I've already covered it in a modern review, then that's my opinion. Fully codified and detailed as much as I possibly can, with an entire system built around doing so. The Mass Effect 3 ending brought its score down from about 130-something to 30. A system that also has input, that's true. A system designed to get input from other voices and other perspectives. So that I can, you know, check myself. And because I value differing opinions.
Enemies approaching, doesn't it?
Come on! Come on! Jesus! That... Oh, that was a thing. Okay, this is bad. This is bad. Let me move! Oh, God! I'm not trying to change your mind, Latara. You're welcome to think whatever the hell you want to. I know people who actually like really, really terrible games and movies, and that's their right. The only reason I'm actually emphasizing that point is because I don't agree with you, and I know that, and that's the important part. Like, if you asked me to give you my opinion on Final Fantasy VI right now, I cannot give you a codified opinion on that game because I haven't done a proper review of it. So I don't know my opinion of Final Fantasy VI. But Mass Effect 3? No, I covered that. Yeah, disagreements can, and honestly often are, a good thing. It's civility that tends to be the problem. It worked, Lord Harriman. What do you want from me? Okay, I think it's the Outer Ring. So if Star Trek had a Season 0 the directors weren't happy with, would you be okay with them deleting it? Yes, I would. But the only reason why is because I'm not a hypocrite. I understand extremely well the desire to get rid of your old crap stuff because it is old and crap. I know this because my stuff is old and crap. If I could just Thanos a lot of older things of mine out of existence, I would do so without hesitation. I wouldn't even think about it. It's a no-brainer to me. There is no reason whatsoever to allow that stuff to exist. The only reason it continues to do so is because people, like you, have asked me to. So, I apologize. Actually, I just realized I misspoke. What I mean by that is there's no reason for me to keep that stuff into existence. Obviously, there is a reason to keep it into existence. I just gave you the reason. course, Dr. Winter, and hopefully I have in fact learned those lessons. I would like to think I'm slightly better than I used to be, despite multiple comments yesterday, specifically, sorry, it was just yesterday, where I have been told that my channel is going downhill. From multiple people have told me that too. So I apologize to everyone for how my channel is going downhill. I apologize. I'm sorry that you find yourselves in a position where you have misinterpreted my content and think that it's getting worse. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do the apology thing. Oh, God. I would need a script, you know. So, as we can see, as per usual, the gluck is starting to bleed in. And it's just gore. It's just meat moss. That's all it is. He was being a bard. But I can't sing with beans. And see, that's my favorite part, Blade Traval. Some people will say, oh, I don't like, you know, Lore Runner because he's focusing on streams. And you know what? Valid. I don't agree, obviously, but some people just don't like streaming as a format, and they don't want to see the streams or the VODs. They prefer the synopsis videos, or they prefer the talking head, or they prefer, you know, heavily edited nonsense. And that's fine. You know, no judgment in any direction. Other than the heavily edited nonsense. That can go to hell. But the point is, that makes sense. If people think my show is going downhill because of the fact that I am focusing on streaming, fine. But no, these people just say it's going downhill. End statement. I have no idea why they think that. I'm not even sure I care. Oh yeah, by the way, this is the exact same gore as the Darkspawn, because reused assets. Oh man, I'd go crazy if I didn't have Twitch chat. Exactly, Lidgeville. It's
magic at work.
It's logical and reasonable and understandable to why people are upset about the loss of the Ruminations. It's not going to change it, because that was a decision 5 years in the making that has every reason and logic behind it. But, you know, at least it is an understandable reasoning, right?
It is time. Oh, pet.
Yes, my love. What are we having tonight?
Roast boar. Your favorite. And candied yams. The meal looks sumptuous.
You spoil me, my sweet. How fare our children at their lessons?
You should ask them yourself.
What have you learned, my son?
Mother has me practicing my penmanship. She raps me on the knuckles if my letters are not formed correctly.
Yes, it is important for a young man to be able to write. And what about you, my dearest Lisa?
Mother is teaching me to play the harp. And I helped with supper.
Well, it is delicious. Thank you.
Isn't this wonderful, husband? Isn't our life perfect?
Yes, it is all perfect.
This is messed up, but I want to respond to chat really quick first. I remember that comment, Pastor of Muppets. I remember the gentleman who said, if you play Souls games on co-op, you haven't played Souls games. For the record, I have not played any Souls game completely single player. And I probably never will at this point. So you got Sekiro, which doesn't have multiplayer. Second of all, I've always assumed, to be blunt, that the reason for the gore with the Fade and the gore with the Darkspawn is asset reuse. And I've never thought really past that because it's asset reuse. But if you put a gun to my head, which you really love to do for some reason, and maybe think about it, I would say that, yeah, no, it would make a lot of sense that there is a direct connection between the Darkspawn and what they are, and the Fade. What that connection is, I have no idea. Because we don't even know what the Darkspawn is, let alone the Fade. There's so many giant holes in our understanding of this setting, which is really frustrating. Anyways, As a further addendum, though, Wandering Doll is absolutely correct. Chat is part of the review process and part of the streaming. You guys and gals and in-betweens add to this whole thing. You give me new perspectives, new opinions, new thoughts. I may disagree with you. In fact, honestly, we often disagree, I would say. But you have encouraged me towards positives or more positives, negatives or more negatives many times. I don't even, like Baldur's Gate 3, the last game we reviewed, this was a true statement on. And it's always helpful, even if we do agree, to have someone else catch me, to remind me of things, 'cause especially when we're covering very, very, very large games like this one. So, you know, lots of stuff, lots of stuff. Sure, Genocida, that might be true. The Golden City is definitely tainted and definitely connected to that. Sure, I don't know. I don't think the original writers even know, to be completely honest with you. But first, let's go deal with this poor sap.
Everything is just as you wanted, my knight. Our love and our family is more than you hoped for.
What are you doing?
Do you hear something, love?
It is nothing, my darling. Just the door. I will get it. The children have finished supper. Tuck them into bed while I see who it is.
Don't be long. The children will want to kiss you goodnight.
I will be but a moment, my pet.
Oh, how precious.
You are intruding upon a loving, intimate moment, and I dislike disruptions.
As a further addendum here, I'm giving this quest by itself a positive, just to be clear, because it's fascinating and interesting. It is unfortunately also somewhat rare. This is one of the reasons I find the concept of a desire demon fascinating. No, not because they look like that, but because what they are supposed to do is to adhere to / feed on / encourage desire, the things that people actually want. As is being presented here, this Templar, who has been working in this order for however long, and given what we learned from Alistair and in future games, he probably hasn't had a particularly good thing going on in his life. What does he really want? He wants to have a loving wife and a darling children, and just to have a simple life on the farm. That's it. That's what he wants. And that's fascinating to me. Like, that's interesting. And yeah, in many ways, this is what the Mind Flayers actually do to people. We talked about this. This isn't spoilers for Baldur's Gate 3. This is just canon in Forgotten Realms. They will give you a nice, happy place down by the river, and you just get to sit there in your happy place while they puppet you around like a puppet on their strings. That's kind of the bargain. It's just, you know, there's no bargain involved. It's interesting to think about, and, of course, disgusting and vitriolic to me, personally. But that doesn't automatically make it horrible. If this is the kind of thing that was willingly proffered as opposed to deliberately preyed upon, this could have some interesting nuance to it. As is, this demon's gotta die, yo, but, you know, food for thought. So, what have you done to this Templar?
Happiness is bewitching. There is a certain power in all things mortals delight in. I have given him what he always wanted. Where is the harm in that?
You realize it's an illusion, right?
All emotion is intangible. You cannot see it, cannot grasp it.
But it is normally caused by something real. Real events, real people. What you've done to him is abhorrent.
I saw his loneliness and longing for a family that loved him.
Who could possibly want that?
Used them to enslave the fool. And he accepted willingly?
No one else would have known his heart. He did not know it himself.
Thank you, Tonic the Doctor. Always. Of course, Shale would react badly to this. Shale reacts badly to any kind of enslavement, for reasons I feel no need to really explain. You didn't put that towards anything in particular, Tonic, but if you do want to, please let me know. Thank you. Lord Harrowmont asked a question. I want to answer it before I'm pushed against the wall here. It's already scrolled off the screen. if I was the writer, if I was doing the Dragon Age rewrite, and I have to come up with an answer for the Fade and the Darkspawn and everything else, what would I do? Starfield. You got it, Tonic. Remember, you can pick up to 3 things, though, with no cost. So there's the BRPG block, if you're into those. There's... I don't know what else. Off the top of my head. What would I do with the Fade, the Darkspawn, and the originals? This is a very vaguely formed idea, but bear with me for a second. Imagine if one of the original Elven lords, the ones who like to think of themselves as gods, was so horrible and so awful that they actually sealed this particular individual away in a pocket dimension of some sort, the Golden City. And over time, that caused issues amongst the Elven people and a civil war amongst the Elven people, and all sorts of things went directly to hell. And in the end, the only solution that they ended up coming up with was the creation of the barrier, the Fade. So the Fade's there. There we go. Yes, the Elden Lord. I like it. So the Fade is there now, and there's a person trapped in the middle of it, and that's their whole shtick. Fast forward a bajillion years or so, not that long. 10,000 years. There we go. Perfect time. I feel like that's a nice round number. It's big and round, and that's what people want. You can tell just by looking at the game right here. And some Tevinter lords who are very, very skilled and powerful mages pull an equivalent of Karsus's Folly. They're like, let's go ahead and... Yes, I have, Dexia. Let's go ahead and charge our way into this barrier in order to access the great, wonderful power that's in. Probably pushed by their dragon masters, right? But the throne was empty. The city was already black because it was always a prison for this guy. So that sucks. And as a direct consequence of the Darkspawn taint itself is... I know this is kind of cliche and very pulling from Final Fantasy IV. It is a physical manifestation of the pain and hatred of that individual who's still trapped there in the center of the Fade. The reason you can always see it from all directions is because of the nature of how the Fade is constructed. The fact that everybody goes to the Fade when they dream is by virtue of the fact that every person in the world is helping to fuel this barrier. That's how they maintain it. They connect it to life itself. So everybody dreams, which helps maintain the Fade, which keeps this sucker locked away, so they don't have to deal with it. But it also seeps back in the other alternate direction. So demons and spirits, which are probably innate creatures which have since either grown from or become locked into the Fade, take your pick, are a natural byproduct of this whole thing. So many people drift in and out, they're like, ooh, that person looks cool. And because they're not fully sentient sapient beings, but mere concepts, ghost in the more traditional sense of the word, they start to latch onto things. Hence we have possessions and abominations and all that fun stuff. The Darkspawn are then directly this manifestation. The taint is actually that physical manifestation I mentioned earlier. And the Darkspawn have no real mind. They're just... and they just kind of spill out and carve and tunnel towards whatever. Probably seeking the largest bundles of just magic in general they could find, and since dragons are large-scale, innately magical creatures, they tend to beeline the dragons, which have been hibernating for another reason. I'd have to come up with it, but there's some reason they're hibernating. Hence we have the cycle. The Darkspawn tunnel down, find a dragon, infuse it with this taint, and now we have an archdemon, which now carries forward with that same will towards the surface. Blights. So that's what Darkspawn are. That's what the Fade is. And that's what the Maker is, aka it doesn't exist. Or if you want to really stretch that, you could say that the Maker was this particular individual, the imprisoned Elden Lord. There you go. I think that's my answer to that. Sorry for taking so long. So, why do you think what you're doing to this guy is a good thing?
We are partners. I give him what no one else can, and through him, I experience what it is to be mortal.
Oh, that's a good idea, Colgrim. Maybe the Maker is the still living architect. Or no, you know what I like better? It's not the person who built the trap for the Elden Lord. It's just the only surviving person who actually worked on it. All of the others have died out, either from suicide or from conflict or old age or whatever. But there's one left, and this one remaining person is just really, really tired of their job at this point. So they just kind of watch. They're tired of doing anything. They're tired of being anything. They just watch. Very, very rarely they'll be like, huh? And that's it. And that's the Maker interfering, like with Andraste, for example. But otherwise, they're just, yeah. No, Von Falkenstein, no! Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, bored Jurgle, pretty much. And yeah, he is, of course, trying to make sure, you know, the Maker is trying to make sure that the machine keeps running. Come on, keep the system rolling, keep the system rolling. Thus, we have the plot of Dragon Age 4. We need to, A, figure out a way to permanently kill this guy, the one who's actually trapped, the Elden Lord. B, we need to, oh, actually, let me walk that back. We need to decide if we should keep the machine functioning. Probably more like repair the machine, I think, because it's pretty clear it's been getting worse over time, and there's hints of that in Dragon Age Inquisition as well. So we have to decide, do we repair the barrier, do we break it down and say screw it, or do we try to get in there and figure out a way to permanently kill the Elden Lord? And that's like the three primary spokes of how the story can branch based on player choice. And then there you go. There's your quest hooks. There's your MSQ. That would be the break it down and screw everything ending Colgan. Because you gotta have an end. You gotta have an evil option. You always have to have some kind of evil option in these kind of games. Exactly, Loke. See, that would be one of the counterpoints. You might think the obviously good ending would be to go ahead and bring down the barrier in order to access and kill the Elden Lord. But think about the consequences of that. Think about how much of this world's society for millennia has been built around the concept of the Fade and magic and mages and demons and spirits and all the things that exist. Think about all of that being etch-a-sketched aside. It would be a sea change for everywhere. So, something to chew on, right? Something to put into the equation, like, It would theoretically get rid of the Mage Templar problem by getting rid of mages. Unless we decide that there's another source of magic, because the idea here is that there was some kind of magic before the Fade, right? Otherwise, how could they do the things they did back in the old days? I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't understand the question, Latario. Correct, Tonic the Doctor, at least hypothetically. Yeah, no, exactly, Bragwin. Exactly, you're starting to see the logic here. Because this would be... this would be a whole thing. No, I agree, Von Falkenstein. I don't want to sound arrogant, but most people... let me walk that back a sentence. The type of stories I tend to write without regard to the things that writers have to deal with. Writers have to deal with demands from producers. They have to deal with demand from investors and executives who themselves want the safest possible stories in order to be able to, you know, make their profit margins. I don't have to deal with time limitations. I don't have to deal with licensing rights. All of the issues and limitations and problems that writers face, I don't. That's one of the great benefits of doing the Rewrite Project, because I can do whatever the hell I want with the Rewrite Project. And I do. I write the best story that I think I can. And that's my goal. That's my limitation. Best story possible. The rest doesn't really matter, right? And so, I can tell a story like the one I just described. But what I cannot do is actually make that story happen. Until we do the Dragon Age rewrite, of course. Anyways. Savacom, thank you. As always. And I will jot that down for Tikris. It is funny. Under normal circumstances, I would say no immediately. But I own that game, so I bought it when it came out. Silly me. Anyways. So Latari says, what would it take for me to have no doubt about it the Maker does not exist? A out-of-character interview by one of the writers telling me that the Maker does not exist. That would be the convincing argument for me, most likely. So you, my dear, are a parasite.
Freedom cannot be given. The Templar must choose it for himself.
I mean, do you really think so?
If you help this man, what does he learn? Nothing.
That's true. That's true. And if I'm dying and starving on the street, offering me for some food doesn't really assist me in any manner.
Our thoughts and spirits are melded. If one perishes, so does the other. Though much of my strength is spent maintaining this link, I am his wife and his children. He will defend me to the death if need be. I want nothing from you. I have what I need. All I ask is that you leave us alone.
Yeah, sure. So after I get the first enchanter and, you know, bring the Templars back in and they find you, how do you think that's gonna go? Like, seriously.
Perhaps we will escape. Perhaps we will not.
Cool. I'm gonna kill you.
Then you leave me no choice. Help! There are bandits at the door. They're going to murder the children.
They will not get past me!
Well, yeah, obviously.
Living wretches.
It's really weird playing this without Mana Clash, by the way. I just want you all to know that. I have committed to the playthrough, so we're going to see it through, but it's just... I keep wanting to be like, alright, focus fire the biggest caster in the group first. Oh wait, I can't do that yet. Because I always do Mana Clash. We know Mana Clash is awesome. We get that. I'm trying something different this time around.
As you wish.
I don't actually remember the specific reason Mana Clash is so overpowered right now.
Yes. As you wish.
But what it does, in simplicity, is it destroys a target's mana in order to do damage to them. The thing is, it does a ton of damage to a single target while getting rid of their mana.
This should be easy enough.
Apparently it has no damage cap, which, yeah, that tracks. And I feel like there is a calculation bug in it, but again, I don't remember the specifics right now. That's why I'm speaking vaguely. But either way, the point in the finished version is if you hit a caster with Mana Clash, it's a good chance they will die instantly in one shot. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Virtually every major boss in the game has mana, one way or the other. Oh, hey.
Oh, look. Visitors. I'd entertain you, but too much effort involved.
Oh, you're fine, Blade Tavel. You're definitely not asking too many questions. So, how many of you like the Fade?
He's just resting. Poor lad. He was so very, very weary. You want to join us, don't you? Wouldn't you like to just lay down and forget about all this? Leave it all behind.
Frozen again. Lovely.
We must stand and fight.
Resist. You must resist. Else we are all lost.
Why do you fight? You deserve more. You deserve a rest. The world will go on without you.
If I might be so bold, this probably should be a check. Let us skip the Fade in character and in game. That's not an option. We're screwed. So, of course, we have the effects turned off, so no headache. Yay! Hey, there's the Black City. I like your idea, by the way, Lord Harrimont. You clearly stole it off of me. But no, it's a good idea. I like it. So, before we actually review the Fade, let's discuss the Fade briefly. The dungeon we're about to do. Because this isn't a dungeon. It's a town. Hear me out for a second. The Mage Tower is the dungeon of this particular MSQ. We go through the tower, we fight enemies. There's very little side stuff that isn't puzzle or combat, and the occasional dialogue. But there's none of what you would traditionally call the town feature. There's no Orzammar stuff. There's no Denerim stuff. There's no whatever the damn camp is of the elves stuff, right? But you're probably thinking, well, then how is the Fade the town? Well, because the Fade itself has the same structure as a town. It's all doing other side things, side quests and interactions of stuff that are not directly connected to the main quest. Now, it is missing a few pieces, I'm not going to deny that, but most of that's on the narrative side of things. The gameplay of the Fade is designed to be the other half of the tower. Now, whether it succeeds at that or not, that's certainly debatable. But I've always found that fascinating about the Fade and how it's structured. Now, let's look at this from a design perspective, because we're really gonna think about this as we go through this here. Okay, this is the first thing we see. We're in the Fade, obviously. We're a mage, but you don't have to necessarily be a mage. You see that thing right over there. It's big, obvious, and you cannot interact with it. It does not show up, and you cannot click on it. Cool. Oh yeah, we also have the worst song in the game while we're in the Fade. Actually, I will indulge in one thing, and we're just gonna kill the music while we're in the Fade, if that's okay with everybody, because I don't like this song. But the point is, there's something big and flashy and obvious that we can't interact with. Game design. Yeah, there will be a thing here later. You get it. Let's see, what would be a good Fade playlist? Space, maybe? Yeah, we'll work at that. No, I don't think that should be a negative. Although I stand by what I said earlier. But anyways, so here we are. Ostagar. Interesting. There's some wardens here. There's also a lyrium vein for no reason. And Duncan!
Ah, there you are. I'm not disturbing you, am I?
No, of course not. Why would that be a thing? That's a good point. We could go with the Darkness playlist instead. Yes, of course I have a Darkness playlist. Don't make fun. Do you... You should be dead.
Dead? Me? I have been close many times, but I never quite made it all the way. I just wanted to make sure you were happy here in Weishaupt. These grand halls were built by the first Grey Wardens. Isn't it breathtaking?
Yeah, I know, Evo. But it's totally Ostagar. It's literally copy-paste from Ostagar. I know. Asset reuse. I get it. Yeah, so notice how Duncan's tone... It's the same actor, of course, but his tone and his manner of speech are completely different.
It will stand as a testament to the time when the Grey Wardens were needed to fight the Darkspawn.
What do you mean? Don't we still have to fight?
The Darkspawn are gone, remember? You were there in the last great battle. It was a triumph for all of us, bringing down the Archdemon and setting the underground lairs ablaze.
Then what do the Grey Wardens do?
The Grey Wardens shall be keepers of history. We shall
Lore
tell
walkers.
tales and sing songs of a more tumultuous time, that others may rejoice in knowing that that time is past.
Ah, that sounds incredible. But that's not really what the Wardens are.
And I suppose you know the Grey Wardens better than I do? Foolish child. I have given you so much and you cast it back in my face. Can you not be content with the peace I offer?
But the Darkspawn are not gone.
It seems only war and death will satisfy you. So be it. Have your war and your Darkspawn. May they be your doom.
You never had a chance! Excellent!
So, here's our map.
Who are you? Where did you come from? Are you a demon? Wait, I know you, don't I? You were the apprentice who left with the Grey Warden. Who would have thought you would end up here with me? Good job for getting out of that trap.
Yeah, now what?
The demon traps everything that comes here in a dream it thinks they can't or won't try to leave. I thought I'd escape too, but I've been wandering these empty grey spaces for a lifetime.
I don't remember you from my time here.
I suppose we never had much to do with each other. I heard many good things about you from Irving, however. I am Njal. I was trying to save the Circle when I encountered the Sloth Demon. I expect our experiences were similar.
Owain mentioned you.
Owain helped me greatly. I suppose I'll never be able to repay him. Litany was our weapon against the Blood Mage's domination. But it's too late. Everyone's dead.
Why are there so many Blood Mages?
I don't know. They must have been practicing in secret, even teaching others. I knew these people, trusted them. The Litany was our only hope of saving the Circle. But now, this place drains you of everything. Hope, feeling, life.
I mean, we'll find a way out.
No, there is no way out of here. You think there might be, but you'd be wrong. You see that pedestal there? I've studied the runes on it. Runes that signify different islands of the Sloth Demon's domain. The Sloth Demon itself is on the center island, but you can't get there. The 5 islands around the center somehow form a protective ward. I thought I was getting somewhere when I figured that out, and I went to each island in turn only to have my hopes dashed. There's always an obstacle. You'll see the path but be unable to get to it, and it taunts you and drives you mad.
Maybe my companions are on the islands.
I don't know. There are many dreamers. You might find a way to reach them through the islands, if you're lucky.
Tell me about the ward.
I don't know much. I think the Sloth Demon has placed lesser demons on each of the islands. I've seen them. They take different shapes, but they're there. Defeating them may be the only way to reach the Sloth Demon. But you have to get to them first. I couldn't. I was too afraid to try.
Obstacles?
Yes. Obstacles and mad dream things. A river of flame before a portal, or a door that shows you freedom through a keyhole that no key will fit. I once found a passageway smaller than my hand with a mouse going to and fro through it. Silly thing fled before I could question it. Oh, there are many. Many dreamers. Some think they're mice. Others wolves, nightingales, or octopuses. Each dreamer may know things another may not. The mouse could have told me what lay beyond the tiny passage, or how to get there. Even how I might make myself small like him and crawl through myself. And if one could become small enough to take one path, perhaps there are similar ways to walk the others.
I should go.
Don't mind me then.
So yeah, probably the biggest problem with this section of the game is it's really, really designed for mages. In a way that's kind of blatant. It works pretty well if you're a mage, which, hey, we happen to be, but
Let's get started.
I just want to leave this place. Help!
Thank you, but too late for me. Kill Yevina, the demoness that rules here. She protects her master, Sloth. There's a door only demons can see. The key must be in another realm. Take my power. Save any others trapped in nightmares. Kill the demons that guard Sloth. Make my...
we now have the ability to shapeshift in the Fade. It's even got its own special interface up there. Yeah, actually, 40. A common problem, it seems. Okay, fine.
On it.
Anyways.
Let's get started. Excellent! Desperation is an ugly perfume.
I mean, I probably wouldn't have time, Lothario, but I could see it being worthwhile to look into.
On it.
Something happened, didn't it? You look a little different. What happened?
I became a mouse.
Did you? Did it help? I know I saw the tiny holes. Were you small enough to get through?
I thought you'd given up. Why are you so excited?
I don't know. You're so much braver than I am. I was so sure it was impossible to get anywhere. Do you think you could learn other shapes? Maybe they could help you get to places you couldn't otherwise.
Only one way to tell. Well, if that's the one you're talking about, Lothario, then I would never read that. Holy crap. Game. That took a second. Hang on. I've never done that, Evo, no. Hey, Luma. Hey, Ziad. Yeah, frickin' sloth, am I right? Ugh.
It's either you or me, and it isn't going to be me.
Thank you, Luma. As always.
Excellent!
If you know which up to 3 things you'd like to put that towards, please let me know. Listen, sometimes you just gotta be on fire, you know?
As you wish. Cursed creatures!
I'll probably show off spell combos, because we have to.
This should be easy enough. Let's make this quick, shall we? Ha-ha! As you will.
I mean, Grease Fireball is kind of the classic. There's also the Bees Fireball. I'm just kidding. I don't think that's actually a combo. The Nicolas Cage, as they call it. Yeah, it's really simple. First you put them in bees, and then they go, ah! And then you light them on fire. And then, well, you know. No, I'd be fine with that, Uthor. Listen, listen, it's impossible to get past that wall, Colgrim. I have no thoughts on what the Black City is, only what I would write it as, which I answered earlier. Well, that's an interesting question, Popanix, because my two favorite settings of all time are StarCraft and Warcraft. Two extremely high-tier settings. Having said that, I think the real problem is most people... most franchises don't know how to write high-tier. Like, that's my honest opinion on that. Most people want to be big and huge and world-impacting, universe-destroying. They have no idea how to actually do that. So they don't. Instead, they make, you know, crap. Yeah, okay, fine. Come on.
This should be easy enough.
Hey, Ross. Now, to give in to the kiting side of the Force. My favorite low-tier setting? Also true, Luma. Favorite low-tier setting? Hey, Sakage.
Let's get started.
I mean, I guess Equestria would count. Pokemon should count, but doesn't because it's stupid. Speaking of settings that don't know how to do low or high tier properly. I'm honestly struggling to come up with a really good low tier setting. Lord of the Rings qualifies, but I can't really call myself a fan of the setting.
This should be easy enough.
So that's why I didn't jump into that one.
Is that all you've got?
How would I find a low-tier setting? You know, honestly, I don't even know how to answer that. It's like asking me how to define hot food. It's food that's hot. Let me try to explain by example. So, why is Warcraft so high tier? Well, because it includes individuals who are the size of planets, spaceships, magic that can move continents, giant armies fighting each other on battlefields, individuals who can single-handedly kill massive demon lords, a colossal, incredibly well-organized demonic swarm whose learned goal is to try and burn the entire material plane to the ground. Something they have been succeeding at for millennia. That's high tier. Yeah, Lord of the Rings, in the Third Age, the event of the books and the movies, is low tier. The largest and biggest and strongest thing walking around is, well, arguably a giant flame demon. But even that thing is relatively low tier. There's no real big dragons anymore. The big bad certainly has an army at his disposal, but that army has, you know, swords and armor, and they eat maggoty stinking bread for 3 stinking days. Like, so the Lord of the Rings films would be a perfect example of low tier. I don't admittedly know how else to describe high tier and low tier.
You. Right.
Kingdom Hearts is also high tier. Kingdom Hearts is a setting in which the stakes are regularly restructuring a multi-dimensional setting. It's the high tier for essentially the same reason Forgotten Realms is. Ooh, this hurts. Did I? Okay. Doesn't kill me. Game! Nope. Wouldn't target him. Alright, whatever. That's actually our first death. Our first, like, game over death.
Yes, yes. They won't find me yet. They won't find me. You!
It's okay, we're right here. It's just that was irritating. I'm like, alright, take care of him. And the game was like, no. No. While we're on the subject, Dragon Age, in Origins specifically, is a low tier setting.
Look at this mess! I love it!
They're gone. You did it. You killed them. But not all. Their leaders are behind the unbreakable door. I give you my wisdom. It will let you see. And now I wake.
And obviously, I use terms high tier and low tier as if they're binary when they very much aren't. It's definitely a gradient. Up, down, and in between.
As you wish.
Oh yeah, that's another low tier setting. The Witcher. Yeah, I tend to label tier based on what's common, not what's available. To go back to Warcraft for just a second, it's not really fair to call Warcraft high tier setting because of the Titans. Because Titans are kind of the exceptions, not the rules, you know? But Warcraft is still a high tier setting because there's still plenty of common everyday stuff that is very high tier.
Here we go!
One properly designed siege tank in Warcraft could probably kill a dragon in several other settings. And yes, Forgotten Realms is high tier setting. They have all kinds of stuff. I don't even know where to start with that. But you get the idea. You get the concept. Yeah, gnomes have literal death rays. Spaceships exist. Because we've been to space, yo. Honestly, yeah, Lord Harriman, I would agree. Is Warhammer 40k 2 sci-fi? No. If anything, I would say it's not sci-fi enough. Warhammer 40k is fully fantasy. The existence of technology in space notwithstanding.
Is it just me? Or do you actually think you have a chance?
Maybe don't say that after you've already died once and nearly died a second time. In lore, well, let's not talk about that. In lore, there should be some stuff that's been going on in Outland, but unfortunately, we've had exactly one real insight into Outland post-Outland that actually counts in lore. And all we know is that it's still a bit of a mess, but is slowly getting put back together. And that's nothing new.
A little frantic? I can see why.
mean, if I had to... Oh, yeah, speaking of which, Halo, there's a high tier setting. So, let's see. God, you've got some interesting resistances, don't you? This might be a problem. Star Wars is pretty damn high tier, yes. And, ironically, has nothing to do with the Force or the Jedi. In fact, actually, one of the things I like about Star Wars is the Force is very low tier. Which is something I like about the Force. Trek is actually lower tier than Star Wars, which is funny to me. But it is. Whatever nonsense tech they come up with one particular week or the other, Star Trek is actually very well localized, very much more down to earth. Most of their battles are either not or involve, you know, relatively small skirmishes of a line, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Star Wars has galaxy-spanning conflicts and huge epic battles and ships that are ludicrously advanced. And, of course, naturally, FTL, which is bonkers if you think about it. Bonkers in a well-designed way, but bonkers nonetheless. Yeah, I'm not talking about the exception stuff, remember? That's the whole rule. We talk about what's normal, not the stuff the exception. So the fact that the Q exists in Star Trek doesn't make Star Trek high tier. The fact that, you know, the Death Star exists in Star Wars doesn't make Star Wars high tier. To go down the list, so to speak. Okay, so that led there. Alright, that's where I thought it led. Okay. It was mentioned during BC that Outland was on its way out, and the only reason it wasn't already out was because of the consistent efforts of the Cenarian expedition. We do know that as of BFA, Outland is livable. In lore, not as a conceit of gameplay or reuse of assets or anything like that, there was a fully rendered cinematic cutscene that goes to Outland, the broken world. Oh, jeez. But that's kinda it. That. Very true, Huthor. And that's why I lament that we know so little about the fate of Outland. Because we don't. That's the only snippet we've had in however many years it's been. 14 years now? Something like that? You know, I don't know, Lord Airmont. I've never thought about it. Or, remarkably, I've never done the tests necessary to determine it. Let's go back up here for a sec. Yes, it is, Spartan. The only thing that isn't accessible in retail is vanilla. And the Battle for the Undercity. Random exception.
Let's get started.
Interesting. Yeah, I agree, Fife, but, well... As much as I praise WoW, and will continue to do so, I expect it will score very high. The game has an unfortunate tendency to ignore its previously existing content in favor of future content. Which is exactly as frustrating as it sounds. Yeah, I'm curious myself, Uthor. That could go a lot of ways. Good, bad, and in between. Ha! Yeah, that would do it, Jesse Ward. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, Jesus. I think the music helps too. Truthfully, no, Glaterval. Well, let me walk that back. It doesn't bother me in its own right. It depends on what they do with it, as it is with most things for me. Azar. I'm gonna stop talking for a minute to suck on a lozenge.
As you wish. Make this quick, shall we? Critters. Here we go! This should be easy enough. Excellent! Let's get started. Oh! On it.
What was the name of that Pixar film?
Finally, some wildlife.
Where technology replaced fantasy and it was treated as a bad thing.
Thing was out to get us.
I found it to be kind of a middling film.
Excellent!
I did a rumination on it. Can't even think of the damn name of it. That's the one. Was it Onward?
Must control anger, but it bubbles. It burns. You must die.
As you wish. On it. Right.
The anger. Fading. I am free. Take Ragos' power. Use it and burn him. Burn them all. He guards Sloth. He bars the way. You must destroy the door. Other dreamers. Other powers. Only way.
Burning Man. Also known as the let's just get on with it form.
Enemies approaching! On it. Excellent! As you wish.
Can't trust anybody, especially each other.
The solution is so simple. We kill. Kill everyone.
How delightful.
Sense something drawing near.
You heard the man.
Ha! You're mine! You're puppy! No mercy! Let's get started. Right.
Something that will add new quality of life changes to the gameplay, Mr. Red. Something that will make the gameplay even better, for that matter. Something that will start cribbing off of FF14, as they should have been doing this whole time. Something that will have a terrible MSQ, and something that will have a great secondary quests. That's my expectation. Hope, though? Honestly, I haven't thought about it.
As you wish. Excellent! Here we go! Only
I've heard that, Uthor. I wouldn't ask for an Old World revamp, though. I'd ask for an Outland revamp. That being said, Vashir needs someone to go through and fix that damn zone. It was once one of my favorite zones in the entire game. And now it's, you know, in its current state.
This should be easy enough. On it.
I mean, honestly, revamps are more likely now that Classic has taken off the way it has. So I would not be surprised.
Right.
And you know me, I'm totally okay with revisionism, so death to the past!
This should be easy enough. Excellent!
I'd also love to do a polishing pass on basically every zone in the game. Although I don't know if I trust them to do that, but I wouldn't mind doing that myself.
Right.
It's what we do. We're mages.
Gordon senses tingling.
Ow. Ow. Yeah, unfortunately, it'll probably never actually happen because too many people whinged about Kata. That's death. Yep, okay. Where the hell was this?
As you wish.
I've had enough of that.
Right. Here we go! On it.
Well, that's not even the complaint that was so common back in the day of Lucas Slaughter. The main complaint people had was there was no new content in Kata, which is one of the dumbest things ever because Kata is the first or second largest expansion they've ever done. Ugh. But no, no content. It's nonsense. I mean, it's not like Kata's endgame content was, you know, perfect or anything.
Warden senses tingling.
But come on, you know. Now.
Right. Ah. This should be easy enough.
Better one to battle music now. Oh yeah, there's actually quite a bit. Kingdom Hearts is actually in the minority, believe it or not, Lord Hermon. But I have it playing in order. Here, I'll put it on random. Ugh. Do not remind me of Azurite, please.
As you wish.
Oh, absolutely, Cloden. I agree completely. Kata was also the beginning of them really experimenting with the multi-zone arc concept. Quest chains going across zones, which for some reason was unusual at the time. Hey, Jesse's mask. There were only a couple, but they're actually some of my favorite quest chains in the whole game. I do hope D&D has been going well. actually put the Firelands as one of my favorite raids ever. Not the favorite, not at the top, but like top 10 territory. Come on. Also, I happen to really like the Molten Front, while we're on the subject. I don't know, I'd have to think about a top 10. It's easier to do it per expansion, in which case Firelands just wins for Cataclysm. I liked the Bastion, but for me, Firelands stomped it. Am I irritated by the Fate? I've been thinking as we go. I'm trying very, very hard to divorce myself from the severe pain in my throat. As of this exact moment in time, I'd probably give the Fade A positive and A negative, I think. As of this moment in time. The negative is for padding. There's really too much combat here. It's not... I know this is going to sound like a strange statement, but in my opinion, Dragon Age Origins is at its best when its combat is precisely designed and intermittent, not throwing wave after wave of trash at us. And there's just too much combat in the Fate, which is especially egregious because we're fighting by ourselves. The forms help, but they don't change the fact that we are fighting by ourselves in a combat system not designed for such a thing. It's the same problem we had with the Arrival DLC in Mass Effect 2. The game just isn't built for that kind of combat. I'll help you! By contrast, I do like the idea of the Metroid-y nature of the dungeons, and I do like the multiple forms quite a bit. In a bit, we'll talk about more the narrative side of things, which we haven't yet.
Help me! Help! Help! Help me, please!
Thank you. It is time for this dream to come to an end. I give you my strength. It will be of little use against the demon that rules here, but perhaps it will help in other realms. Find a way to kill all the demon lords to open the way to Sloth. Free us all from this nightmare!
I've never seen that bug before. That's a new one to me.
You had it coming. On it.
There's one fight I really like in Uldir. Bonus points if you can guess which one. But yeah, I wasn't super impressed with that.
Right.
I mean, the worst raid is Molten Core. There's no contest there. It's Molten Core. Molten Core sucks. That's it. I'm sorry. There's no arguing this. Molten Core is terrible. It was put together in a friggin' week. Of course it's terrible. Fascinating story behind the scenes, but still, terrible raid. I wouldn't call the Ragnaros fight particularly cool, even by the standards of the time, which of course doesn't count because we don't review games by the standards of the time. Probably Lord Aramont. And they should. Any questions? You gonna hit the guy? Seriously. You know, I feel like people don't listen to me, Lucas Slutter, because that's literally what I just said. Like 30 seconds ago. I would probably say the Ragnaros fight is the only thing in there that I would consider to be approaching fight design. And I do absolutely mean that as an insult. Not to you, of course. But to, you know, Molten Core.
As you wish. Only one shall pass.
Hyjal is the second worst fight rate to me, and that's a little bit tighter of a thing. Because in addition to Hyjal, we have the nonsense that is Tack. I am not a big fan of Tack. Or Rack, for that matter. Yeah, when I'm caught up, Spartan.
Excellent! This should be easy enough.
But no, that's kind of more or less the answer there. WoW was already partially funded as a run.
Let's get started.
And I'm actually looking forward to reviewing it. I was hoping to do it this year, and then I lost 2.5 months of my life to nonsense. Make fun if you must, Colgrim. I've only been addicted to WoW once, and it was because I was in a really bad part of my life. Okay. Game. And we're dead. Just done. Okay, here we are. Truthfully, no, Blade to Fall. Baldur's Gate 3 gave me some issues. Worthwhile review, but that hurt. And now we have the Dragon Ages. After this we have GTA. We still have the Zeldas to go through, and Starfield, and the BRPG block, and the WoW stuff. That's ignoring the stuff that's already in the queue. Like the Mario stuff. So... what is most likely going to happen is I'm going to just call it at some point and say, alright, we're not caught up. GTA 5. We're not caught up, so we're going to go ahead and just pause for a bit to go work on the rewrites, because I'd like to get at least one more rewrite done this year.
As you wish.
Especially since so much of the work on FF2R is already done. Well, like it or not, there is that other horrible truth, Jesse's Mask. There might never be a definitive edition to Baldur's Gate 3. I mean, RFF2 would be already out right now, if not for the losing 2.5 months of my life to nonsense bullcrap.
On it. Excellent!
I'm not sure they had one, Yura. I'm joking. I'm sure they had one. Yeah, they fired their animator, or their lead graphics designer. Fair point, Lord Haramont. It's gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. I wrote this down. 7, 8, 10, 10, 2, 12, 6. Pretty sure that's the order. Oh, I forgot 5. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 7, 8, and you know, all the rest. Or no! No, I'm wrong. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 7, 10, 10, 2. Then 8, 9, 12. Then 6. That's it. I don't know, Jesse's Mask. I'm with you.
Let's make this quick, shall we? On your guard.
I'm sorry, Robostall. Have some good rest and or work. Yeah, no, 7 and 10 are occurring timeline-wise alongside each other. But in terms of release, that's probably how we're going to release them. And consequently, how we'll work on them. I do need to have a chat with my art director about some visual design stuff about that, but I don't want to bug her too much because I know she hates my guts. And the last thing she'd ever want to do is talk about visual design. No, not that one. This one.
This should be easy enough.
Stupidity, Lataria. Greed.
You had it coming.
Wizards has a long-standing tradition of shooting themselves in the foot. For reasons that can only be boiled down to some executive in a suit didn't think about the consequences of their actions. Well, let me ask you something, Evo. Have you thought about the Star Trek question I posed to you?
Let's get started.
Yeah, I apologize, Latario. There's actually a much longer answer to that than stupidity, but my throat really hurts right now. In fact, I'm sincerely debating cutting off early so I can just stop talking. Like, I'm not really tired. It just hurts so much to talk.
Now, quarter.
And we're dead. I've had plenty of water. Too much water, really. Water is past the point of helping. My throat is just too raw for that at this point. Probably Yura. Tea doesn't help me. In fact, very, very little helps me other than just not using my throat. I think I am going to chop off early. I apologize deeply. I was hoping to at least finish the Mage Tower today. But it's really, really painful to talk right now. So, I'm going to go ahead and chop it for the moment. Jot down some notes about the Fade. We'll finish the Fade tomorrow. 9 a.m., hopefully, Eastern Standard Time, as usual.